In the history of Harlem, New York City, the 1980s were an invaluable decade. This flourishing neighborhood, which has a rich cultural heritage and a troubled past, faced tremendous social, economic, and political difficulties at this time. Harlem in the 1980s was a complicated weave of resilience, innovation, and suffering, with the birth of the hip-hop culture, the crack epidemic, and the ongoing fight for civil rights all playing significant roles. We explore the core of hood life in Harlem during this time in this video, giving a true account of the events, aspirations, and realities that molded the neighborhood. In the 1980s, one thing made Harlem well known. That is, the epidemic of crack. It had a tremendous effect. The 1980s crack epidemic had a major and fatal effect on Harlem's hoods, leaving a lasting mark on the neighborhood. Particularly affected areas included Sugar Hill, East Harlem, and Central Harlem. The introduction of crack cocaine increased crime, violence, and addiction, upsetting the lives of locals. The drug entered every area of daily life in Harlem, tearing apart families. Addiction destroyed families, causing strained relationships, neglect, and disappointment. Children who grew up in violent and unstable surroundings often found themselves caught in the crossfire. Neighborhoods that used to be affluent were turned into places of hopelessness and hardship by the crack epidemic. Previously vibrant streets became overrun with drug sellers and users, making locals scared for their safety. Gunshots were an ongoing background sound to daily life as crime rates skyrocketed. The people of Harlem showed remarkable perseverance in the face of these significant challenges. To fight the devastating forces of addiction and criminality, community members banded together and organized grassroots movements and initiatives. Churches, community organizations, and concerned citizens banded together to help those in need by offering them resources, information, and support systems. Residents of Harlem confronted a wave of hopelessness by working together to rebuild their communities and recover their neighborhoods. As Harlem emerged from the depths of the crack epidemic, its determination and energy opened the path for a slow transformation. Despite the difficulties of the 1980s, the hoods of Harlem saw the rise of hip-hop, a significant cultural movement that would influence future generations. Artists like Grandmaster Flash, Curtis Blow, and Run DMC enthralled the people of Harlem with their modern sounds and skills as lyricists on the streets. Their music developed into an influential voice that spoke the community's dissatisfaction, dreams, and experiences. Harlem's cultural landscape was further expanded by the rise of breakdancing and street art in addition to music. Attracting crowds with their acrobatic spins, flips, and rhythmic footwork, breakdancers performed their fascinating routines in parks and on street corners. Everyone was invited to participate in the celebration of movement and self-expression by these dancers, who created a lively environment. Graffiti art has become an important part of the neighborhood's visual style in Harlem. The urban environment was transformed into an outdoor art exhibition as skilled artists painted vivid and clear artwork on walls and subway trains. These lively paintings and tags provided a platform for artistic expression, storytelling, and expressing the spirit of the neighborhood. The hip-hop movement gave people a way to escape the struggles of everyday life and gave them a place to focus their energies on something constructive. In the spirit of artistic expression, it became a unifying force that cut over social and economic barriers and brought together individuals from all walks of life. Harlem's hoods became a hub of creativity, attracting artists, musicians, and dancers from across the city and beyond. The streets pulsated with the rhythm of beats, the electric energy of breakdancing battles, and the vivid colors of graffiti art. The 1980s lived experiences in Harlem significantly changed the neighborhood's identity and had a lasting effect on its residents. Although there were many obstacles to overcome, the spirit of resiliency and determination won out. A lot of residents in Harlem during this period went on to become important personalities in a variety of fields, making a lasting impression on the history of the neighborhood. Musicians that were influenced by their time in Harlem, like Tupac Shakur, Nas, and Alicia Keys, went on to have great success in the music business. Besides hitting a chord with the listeners everywhere, their music captured the essence of Harlem's trials and victories. The hoods of Harlem produced filmmakers like Spike Lee and performers like Samuel L. Jackson and Wesley Snipes, who used their talent to highlight the realities of the neighborhood. They challenged preconceptions and raised awareness by bringing stories from Harlem to the big screen. Popular Harlem writers like Maya Angelou and Walter Mosley came to popularity in the literary world. Their creations, inspired by their own experiences and observations in the area, became powerful stories that captured the essence of Harlem's resiliency, while showing the complexity and beauty of its hoods. The grassroots movements and community organizations of Harlem also gave rise to political leaders and activists, such as David Dinkins, who became the first African-American mayor of New York City. They used their fervor and will to advance equality, fight for social justice, and build a brighter future for Harlem and its people. The hoods of Harlem developed into vibrant centers of neighborhood action and empowerment in the 1980s. Local leaders and grassroots organizations have become powerful advocates for social and economic justice. They relentlessly worked to raise the quality of life, educational possibilities, and employment prospects for locals, building a strong change agent movement in the process. Famous activists like Al Sharpton and Sonny Carson were important in energizing the area. They planned protests and gatherings to gather locals in their fight against police brutality and for equal rights. These citizens of Harlem were able to express their worries and complaints thanks to their passionate speeches and tireless efforts. Community groups like the Black United Front and the Harlem Youth Opportunities Unlimited (HARU Act) worked tirelessly to address the neighborhood's urgent problems. They offered the community vital support systems, educational opportunities, and efforts for job training to give it power and pave the way for success. The people of Harlem showed the value of collaboration among communities through their combined efforts. To take on the status quo and push themselves for a better future, they banded together across racial and economic lines. Harlem's streets spread with the chants and determination of those who stood for justice and equality. Discussions and attention to the systemic injustices the community faced were inspired by the activism and empowerment in the 1980s Harlem hoods. Future generations were motivated to fight for their rights and advance a more just society through these initiatives, which created the foundation for ongoing activism and advancement. In the 1980s, there was a growing and unique fashion culture on the streets of Harlem. Residents of Harlem's hood adopted an exclusive and expressive style that became a defining characteristic of the city, influenced by the emerging hip-hop culture and the rich tradition of the African diaspora. Bold hues and patterns were a defining aspect of this era's Harlem fashion. To make a dramatic statement, locals embraced vivid colors and wore them in their attire. Fashion in Harlem was all about striking out and making a statement, whether it was a vivid red jacket, a neon-colored tracksuit, or a patterned jumpsuit. Another well-known fashion that came out of the streets of Harlem was oversized clothing. To express comfort and a sense of individuality, baggy jeans, baggy t-shirts, and large coats quickly gained popularity. As a result of the freedom of movement provided by the loose fit, the residents of Harlem's easygoing and comfortable attitude came to be represented by it. Complete the street fashion styles of Harlem by adding the right accessories. Many people had to get Kangol hats because of their recognizable emblem and unique shape. A touch of glitz and a nod to African and Caribbean ancestry were provided by elaborate gold jewelry, such as long chains, thick bracelets, and big rings. The Apollo Theater, a legendary institution nestled in the heart of Harlem, holds a special place in the neighborhood's cultural history. Since it opened in 1914, the Apollo has served as an important gathering place for African American artists, especially in the 1980s. It provided a stage where aspirations could be realized and served as a haven for young talent. During that time, Showtime at the Apollo was one of Apollo's most well-known productions. It was a fantastic opportunity for budding artists to show off their talents and win over the audience during this televised talent competition. The program became a national phenomenon, drawing performers from all across the nation as well as local performers. The Apollo Theater became a symbol of unity within the community. People from all walks of life gathered there to honor African American culture and artistic talent. the theater presented a wide variety of performances, including music, dance, comedy, and poetry, building a sense of pride and community among the people of Harlem. Renowned performers, including James Brown, Ella Fitzgerald, and Stevie Wonder, graced the Apollo stage, leaving a lasting impression on its history. Their careers and success were launched by the theater. Their performances delighted viewers and added to the unique tapestry of talent that came out of Harlem's hoods. So guys, that was it for this video. What did you think about it? Let us know in the comments section below. If you are new to our channel, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell to get notified about our latest videos. Thanks for watching!